Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people of faith go through, but maybe don't always talk about. It's this journey from a faith that feels kind of easy at the start to something much more tested, more mature. We're going to ask, why does it so often feel like faith gets harder over time? So let me ask you something and just be honest with yourself. Have you ever looked back and thought, man, this was so much easier in the beginning? Back when the answers to prayers felt like they came so fast, your connection felt so clear, and the heavens just seemed open. And then, well, things changed. But here's the big idea we're going to explore today. What if that change, that feeling that things are getting harder, isn't you failing? What if it's not a sign that God has stepped away? What if it's actually, by design, part of a divine plan for your growth? To really get this, we have to start at the beginning. We're going to look at what some people call the spiritual honeymoon, that first phase, and talk about why it fades and why that's not a bad thing. It's a move away from easy answers and into much deeper questions. So, what is this spiritual honeymoon? Well, it's not just some random stroke of good luck. The whole idea here is that it's a deliberate season of incredible spiritual generosity. It's a time that God designs, full of these really profound answers and clear, uplifting feelings, for one reason, to build a super strong foundation and get you rooted in your faith. But here's the thing. That honeymoon phase, it's not meant to last forever. As we start to grow up spiritually, God kind of changes his teaching style. He's not pulling away. He's inviting us to go deeper. The goal is real maturity, right? For us to use our agency more wisely and to build a faith that's solid, even when those amazing feelings aren't there 24/7. And this scripture from Luke, it just nails the why behind this shift. In the beginning, we're given so much light, so much knowledge, really as a free gift. But with that amazing gift comes a higher expectation. It requires more from us, more trust, more effort, and a deeper kind of obedience. So, if feeling more challenged isn't a sign that you're going backward spiritually, then what is it? Well, this next part is all about reframing it. We're talking refinement, not regression. It's about understanding the purpose behind those times that feel like divine silence. You can pretty much break down why the path gets steeper into three main reasons. First, it's to refine your faith. Think about it like a really good teacher who steps back during a test to see if you can actually apply what you've learned on your own. Second, it's to deepen your trust, to move you past relying on feelings and onto relying on solid conviction. And third, and this is the big one, it's to make you more like Christ, because he also walked a path of serious spiritual wrestling. And if you've ever felt like you're the only one going through this, just know you are in such good company. This is a common, well-trodden path. Look at Joseph Smith. He went from these glorious open visions as a boy to the absolute darkness of a prison. Mother Teresa, she wrote about decades of spiritual dryness after her early ecstatic experiences. Even the prophet Nephi, after seeing these incredible visions, later cried out, "Oh, wretched man that I am." Let's actually dig into a specific example to see how this all plays out. The life of Joseph Smith is just a perfect template for this entire journey, from that early innocence all the way to total consecration. I mean, this timeline just lays it all out so clearly. You start in 1820 with the pure, innocent faith of a teenage boy. Then you hit this major turning point in 1828 with the loss of the 116 pages. What a painful lesson in obedience that was. Then comes the crushing darkness of Liberty Jail, where his faith was literally forged in silence. And it all leads to 1844, a consecrated life willingly given. And this is the incredible perspective that came right out of that darkest moment. This revelation he received in Liberty Jail completely reframes suffering. It's not just something you have to grit your teeth and endure. No, it's a divine curriculum. It's experience. And ultimately, it's all for our good. So where does this pattern ultimately lead us? Where does it point? It all points to the highest example there is, the path of Jesus Christ. His life is the perfect model for this journey of refinement. Now, here's a really crucial difference we have to understand. For you and me, we often learn obedience through correction. We mess up, we feel the consequences, and hopefully we learn from it. But for Christ, who was perfect, it was totally different. He learned obedience through suffering, by perfectly submitting his will to the Father's in every single, increasingly difficult moment. This verse from Hebrews it's kind of mind-blowing when you really stop and think about it. The perfect Son of God learned obedience. The idea here is that he didn't just know it in theory, he fulfilled it, he lived it through the raw experience of suffering. His perfect obedience was proven in the fire. And this brings the whole pattern full circle. Just like Joseph had his Liberty Jail, Christ had Gethsemane and Golgotha. Those were his moments of absolute trial, of feeling that divine silence, and of making that ultimate submission, right down to the cry, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Okay, so this whole idea brings up a really big, really important question, and we're going to tackle it now. If this deep path of spiritual growth is only walked by a few people in this life, what about, well, everyone else? What's God's plan for the rest of humanity? And it's a profound question, right? We have to admit that very, very few people in all of history truly get to know God in this deep, tested way while they're alive. So is God's plan some kind of exclusive club? What happens to the billions of people who live and die without this knowledge? And the answer is just so beautiful and so expansive. The core truth is that this life, as important as it is not the only chance. It's not the final exam. God's plan of mercy and opportunity stretches way, way beyond the grave. This chart gives you a really powerful way to picture it. See that tiny little slice of the donut? That represents the people who get a full knowledge of God's plan here in mortality. But that huge, massive slice, that represents everyone who will be taught and given a totally fair chance in the life to come. It shows you just how merciful and all-encompassing God's plan really is. And we have this incredible scripture that gives us the doctrinal foundation for this idea. It talks about a God who judges our hearts, our desires, not just the lottery of our life's circumstances. Anyone who would have received the truth if they'd only had the chance is not forgotten. They are not lost. So what does that mean for those of us in that tiny slice? Well, it means we're not God's favorites. We're forerunners. It's a call to action, a responsibility to help prepare the way for everyone else, both the living and the dead. It comes right back around to where we started. Unto whom much is given, much is required. And that brings us right back to you. After looking at this whole journey, from the easy start to the refining trials, the question really becomes personal. If you find yourself on that steeper path, if you're in a season where the heavens feel a little quiet, maybe the question isn't, God, where are you? Maybe the real question is, what is this spiritual silence trying to teach me?